The majority of people don't use debt as an instrument for financial efficiency. When it comes to your financial patterns, one of the things that I realize why people don't change, it's because of the fact that we have this thing called our amygdala. It's right back here in the back of our brains. Why does that matter? Well, before we're 7 years old, we actually have experiences that we either feel rejected or we have some kind of trauma that locked in. It could be as easy as, like, I had one client, she remembers that her grandmother smacking her on the hand. Like, that's not too bad. But then I have other clients who have had, sexual molestation issues that happen. So they could be severe, they could be minor. But what it does as human beings, it actually hardwires into our amygdala, and then that is what starts the grooves in our brain that repeat patterns. And so consciously, which comes from our frontal lobe, we wouldn't make terrible financial decisions. We wouldn't do some of the patterning we did, but we have these spending hangovers and, frustrations with bailing people out and giving too much to others or things of that nature. That all comes in that hardwiring before we're 7 years old. So how do you change that? Well, you have to shift the grooves in your brain. There's many different tools to do that. There are some theories of the fact that you can go and do plant medicine in the jungle down in Costa Rica or South America. That's one way that psychologists here in the United States are now realizing that, this integration with PTSD and things of that nature, it really actually works to change the hardwire in your brain. But then there's other things that you can do that aren't as much as jumping off the ledge and going to do plant medicine with the shamans. But you could also do things where you're starting to build the muscle in terms of creating a new pattern. This is exactly why I have the process that I do with people financially, so that they start to actually shift that patterning and build new muscles. I always talk about, you just have to build muscles in a different respect, because we have to get the stuff in your amygdala. We have to get other things to hardwire in there and position you to be lucky, because those patterns don't go away overnight. They've been ingrained in you for years. And so we have to start to visualize more of what it is that we want to create, and then build systems to position you to be lucky, so that when your pattern comes up and you sabotage yourself, or you go in a direction that's not in alignment with self because it's what you've learned to do, we need to position you to be lucky so that things go on autopilot and we follow process. And when you get off the horse, you get right back on. But that's why we get stuck. It's because we have two operating systems as human beings. We have our conscious mind and we have our subconscious mind. And it's that subconscious mind that completely plays havoc with us. Oh boy, the financial patterns we have, well, they're all over the map, right? But the biggest, I would say, systemic pattern we have is that we rely too much on debt, and it makes it so that you can't live in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle talks about, he has The Power of Now as one of his most popular books. And you can't live in the now. You can't live in the present moment if you're always paying for your financial past. And that comes in the form of credit card debt, student loan debt, car debt, mortgage debt, debt to family members. Debt is something that really is a financial pattern that is completely destructive to our world. Now, you could talk to some financial people who are very left brain logical and not very emotional and say, I think it's a better interest rate for me to borrow that money and reinvest and grow the business because I'll make a higher rate of return. And that is true. The problem is the majority of people don't use debt as an instrument for financial efficiency. They use debt as an instrument to get things that they then can consume and then pay for later, because they have not actually expanded financially yet to actually afford the thing that they're buying on the debt. That is the challenge, because you are selling your time in the future to pay for the current choice that you made. And is that in alignment or is it not in alignment? And this is the quandary and the pattern that I think is hurting the majority of countries around the world. Because not only do we do this in the United States, but we've also introduced micro-lending to third world countries where they think they have all these opportunities, but it's really about the system controlling the people. Because the debt system controls how you show up in the world. The debt system keeps you in the rat race. The debt system keeps you to where the banking industry actually runs your life, not you. people change because they're lazy or they just don't want to or they want to. You know what? I think everyone for the most part has good intentions. I do think that there's an element here where people just give up and think that this is just the way that it is and this is how we're not meant to get in control of our lives. But that's not really from a place of empowerment. And this is where I have a problem. You know, if you think about Eastern philosophy, our third chakra is right above our belly button. And it's interesting to me that physiologically, that one of the problems in the United States is that we have this weight problem in the United States, and it's all in our third chakra. It's all in our bellies. That shows me loud and clear that we are not living our lives from a place of empowerment. And so then, then we eat fast food. We don't feel good about ourselves. We don't like our lives. And then we're like, oh, I keep trying to get out of this mosh pit. And it's like quicksand and keeps you stuck, or sticky mud where your foot just sticks in there and you can't suck it out. Yeah, it feels like that. When you continue to operate in the debt system, that is what you're creating. But you have to understand you're creating it because you're making life choices that force you to continue to keep staying in that debt system. So you just have to decide that you're willing to just actually live in the current reality that you have and not use those debt systems that sell away your future. Because that's what debt systems do. It sells your future away. And the question is do you want to do that or do you not want to do that? You know, there is always a creative solution for you to get to so that you stay empowered and expand and grow and get what it is that you want. It's not this either or. You don't have to have it now to sell off your future. You don't have to do that. And so I do think over time that people do tend to become lazy because you become tired of staying in a system that doesn't feed your heart and your soul. That's why people get lazy, because they just give up. Because they're tired. So if you want to stay empowered, you want to stay energized, and you want to stay in alignment with your heart and soul, you really have to choose to minimize your debt, choose your cash outlays, and have extra so that you're becoming your own bank. That really is what puts people in the best place of empowerment. To enhance your financial awareness, you're watching my videos. And you know what? Also, I have 3 books that I've written. Motion Behind Money, where you build your wealth from the inside out. Awaken Your Wealth is my book that actually is the process for the last 20 years I've walked clients through of how to actually get out of your own way financially and create a life that you love. And my third one is the 4 Spiritual Laws of Money. And whether it's my books or workbooks or my online courses, you can join any of those at juliemurphy.com. There are many other people that are also talking about financials out there to improve yourself. It's not just about Julie's solution. It's about just find somebody that you resonate with and then align with them, because you will become exactly who you surround yourself with. So that even goes to the fact of the friends that you hang out with. If you have friends that are always sliding the credit card and they complain about their credit card debt all the time, guess what? Stop hanging out with them, because they might be feeding your soul in some other respect, but it might be a trauma meeting a trauma, and you guys are acting out this stuff and you're not actually getting yourself financially to where you want to be. So this is about surround yourself with friends, family, professionals like myself that actually will support you creating the life you want. I remember I had this one client, I went to college with him actually, and he called me up one day, him and his wife, and they were like, Jewel, we gotta move. And I'm like, okay, great, let's figure out how to do it. And then she started crying. And I was like, why are you crying? And she goes, because everyone else told us we shouldn't uproot our kids, we should stay where we're at, this is where your support system is, this is where family is, but we hate being in Illinois. And you know what? They knew that I was going to give them permission to live exactly the life that they wanted to live and show them how to do it to where they felt the most empowered. So it's all a matter of choice, and we can all do it all the time. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell for the videos, because as I'm giving these tips, you can get all the data. And join me on juliemurphy.com and see all the resources at your fingertips, because I have 29 years of experience that I want to share with all of you, because this is my give back to help everyone get to a more place of financial empowerment.